Welcome to the weekend roundup. It is Monday, July 22nd here on the Just Baseball Show. You got Arm Layden and I am Peter Apple. And what we are here to do is break down every series from this past weekend. I'm going to run you through what happened, going to throw it over to Arm Layden for some takeaways, some fun stats. We got a huge lineup ahead of us, and it is all brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Remember, folks, use code JUSTBASEBALL when you download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you lose. So if you place a wager down on BetMGM after using code JUSTBASEBALL and it loses, you'll get that amount that you put down back in bonus bets. And if it wins, congratulations, you won a bet. I took Shota Imanaga under 17.5 pitching outs, and he threw a 7-inning amazing performance, and I lost. I could have used that bonus, but I already did. Make sure you don't miss out. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. Arm, how are you? Just straight up. New week, how are you?
I'm good. I missed this, so I'm excited to kind of catch up on. It's a fun weekend roundup when we had the All-Star break and we're just kind of getting back into the throes of it. The deadline sneaking up. Like there's a lot of implications, I feel like. So it's a lot of fun to get ready for this one. And of course, you lay it out really, really well and kind of walk us through it. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and try to find some fun stats. But beyond that, I've been playing the new Vince Staples album nonstop, and that's been really good for me. So I'm better because of that. Some new music's been coming out. It's been solid. Finally, I think we're on an uptick here in 2024.
We need it because current hip hop is not ideal.
Not in a
But
great spot.
we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about our first series, and that is the Diamondbacks taking on the Chicago Cubs. And we'll take you to game one, where the D-backs won 5-2, a 2-run RBI for Christian Walker, two hits RBIs for Christian Walker, 3 hits for Gabriel Moreno. I'm already screwing it up, and we haven't even started. Nelson allowed only 1 run in 5 2/3, but he had 9 strikeouts. Ryan Nelson for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Justin Steele didn't get through 5 innings after allowing 5 earned runs. So D-backs take an easy one in game 1, and in game 2, it's another easy one, and it was behind Zach Gallen, who threw 5 innings, 3 hits, did not allow a run, but had 6 walks. But Corbin Carroll and Alec Thomas had his back, both hitting home runs. D-backs win 3-0. We moved to game 3, which was much more entertaining, I think, than the first 2 games, where the Cubs win 2-1 in 10 innings. Maybe not entertaining for Diamondbacks fans, but at least they got to see Brandon Pfaadt shove. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and Shota Imanaga was dicing through this Diamondbacks lineup. 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 10 strikeouts, a career high. Eugenio Suarez home run was the first run of the game in the 7th. Seiya Suzuki singled to center to tie it up in the 9th inning. But Nico Horner walk to end it in the 10th. D-backs moved to 51-49. Cubs fall to 48-53 after losing the series.
Brandon Pfaadt. I mean, this is a huge. I know they lost that game. They end up winning the series, and this was a really important series for the D-backs too, because we were just talking about the burning questions. They obviously want to buy. They obviously want to add to this team, and I think if they continue to take 2 out of 3 like this, they're going to feel a little bit more optimistic. You get Gallen back. Pfaadt throwing the way he has thrown, though. Last 4 starts, including this last one on Sunday, 23 1/3 innings, a 0.77 ERA. That's just 2 earned runs, 25 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So with Gallen back, potentially you get Merrill Kelly back as well. Pfaadt throwing the way he's throwing right now, and you hope you get something from Jamon and Erod as well. I thought this was a really good way to get out of the All-Star break and start to try to spark this little stretch before the deadline in the second half.
And they've needed a few key pitchers to step up in his absence, like in the absence of Gallen for a little bit, absence of Kelly. Like Pfaadt has really solidified himself as the 3 starter in this rotation. But how about Ryan Nelson stepping up? In his last 24 innings, he has only allowed 6 earned runs and 17 hits to give him a 2.22 ERA. Now, he's got a 4.78 ERA for the season. So this has been a really good month for him. But the fastball has a lot of life. He's been much better commanding the strike zone. So he's at least someone who can win you ball games when it's not Brandon Pfaadt, when it's not Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen to elongate the season. So also wanted to shout out our guy Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, another huge aspect for them right now. I'm glad you mentioned that. And then the flip side, though, the Cubs, man, like I know they win game 3, but that's because Shota Imanaga is just dominant. They scored 4 runs in 3 games at home at Wrigley against the D. And I know the D-backs had some guys throwing well overall, but Gallen walked 6. He's still trying to shake off the rust. Like it's been really rough to watch this Cubs team try to produce runs lately, and this is a tough series coming out of the break. All of a sudden now they're 6 under, like you mentioned before. It's starting to slip away.
Yeah, it is starting to slip away. Let's talk Phillies Pirates. We'll go to another team in the National League Central, see how they did. Well, they took advantage and won the series. Pirates win the series 2-1 over the Phillies, and it starts in game 1 where the Pirates win 8-7. Neither starting pitcher was very effective, as Nola and Martin Perez both allowed 3 earned runs in the first inning. Weston Wilson and Trey Turner went deep for the Phillies, but in my opinion, this was the O'Neill Cruz show. He had a 120.5-mile-an-hour double, and people are forgetting about the 113.5-mile-an-hour exit velo double.
Light work.
He had 2 of them in the same game, and the Pirates scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th, including a walk-off single from Nick Gonzalez to win game 1. And we moved to game 2, and this was the Luis Ortiz show. 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned. The guy's got an ERA below 2.6, and Christopher Sanchez, who's in the running for National League Cy Young, was out-dueled. Still pitched pretty well, though. 5 2/3, 8 hits, 2 earned runs. Andrew McCutchen and O'Neill Cruz both hit home runs. That was the difference. And the Phillies' lone run came on a Bryce Harper home run. Game 3, all Phillies. They won 6-0. Now we can go through, who's getting base hits, who was getting doubles. But this is about Nick Castellanos, because he almost homered when Joe Biden announced that he was exiting the race. Then he homered later in the game just to put a stamp on it. Nick Castellanos needs to be investigated at this point.
It's incredible. Just when I thought that the whole like meme was maybe like starting to wear off and get a little tired, he just fans the flame and gets it going like at its peak again. And we were talking about it. I would love to be able to find out like how many wagers were placed the second that the news came in on Castellanos to homer, because I saw a few on my feed. So it would be pretty funny if we had some info on that. But I have a question for you based on this series, because I know there's still so much season to go, but the Pirates taking 2 out of 3 from the Phillies and some tough pitching matchups for them as well. Luis Ortiz also starting to look the way he's looked, by the way, before I ask a question. 26 2/3 innings over his last 5 starts, 3 earned runs, 23 strikeouts, 3 walks. It's a 1.01 ERA for the last 5 starts from Luis Ortiz. Very talented. So he might be starting to put it together. That's really exciting. Like, at what point do you start to buy that this Pirates team could maybe hang around? Like, could be last year's Marlins, where you keep waiting for them to hit a wall, but they just kind of have this magic and sneak their way into the playoffs. Is that possible?
So I'm glad you brought this up. So the Pirates, after this series win, are 50-49. So they're a game over 500. Other teams who are a couple games over 500, right? The Padres are just a few games. I think the Rays are a game over 500. Like, that's the level of team that the Pirates are in just based off their record. And I thought to myself, can I really buy into the Pittsburgh Pirates if I don't know if Paul Skeens is going to finish out the year? But I feel like that's a little bit lazy of a take when Mitch Keller is looking as good as he is, with Luis Ortiz looking as good as he is, and the bullpen not looking like a bunch of oldies like they did at the beginning of the season, right? Bednar has stepped up, Chapman is doing his thing, and Colin Holderman is just a straight up stud. The offense still kind of worries me. It seems like they're almost matchup dependent sometimes, where they're definitely better against left-handed pitching, not so much against righties. They're going to see more righties, but they're a pretty good defensive team. I'm still a little bit hesitant to buy in, but they have pieces here. They have great pieces that, at least, I remember when you were talking about, I forgot exactly which team we were speaking about, but you talked about playing competitive games in September, how important it is for a young clubhouse.
It was the Pirates.
It was the Pirates, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing in September, which is huge for their development moving forward. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Probably not. I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. But the fact that they're even here, when the window is just starting to open, it's got to be exciting.
100%. The only other thing I'll add is that, they're apparently discussing, I've talked a little bit about maybe a Jazz Chisholm trade. That would be interesting. You talked about struggling against righties. That would be a way that could probably help that a little bit as well. Jazz definitely a guy that likes to hit righties a lot more than lefties. I wonder if they decide to be a little bit of a buyer here, but maybe buying with control. That is the type of move that makes sense. I feel like you got to be really pumped up if you're a Pirates fan to come out of the break and take 2 out of 3 from what's really been the best team in baseball. And it wasn't like the Phillies played particularly bad. I thought it was just a really well played and well pitched series from the Pirates. And they beat some good arms, like you said, whether it was Christopher Sanchez or even getting to Aaron Nola. Like they had some really good I think well-rounded games, and I'm just waiting for Bednar to fully click. He still gave up a home run the other day, and they were up 4, so it was fine. But like Bednar needs to be that lockdown closer for them to have a chance, though. Like that was kind of what made it happen. I feel like for the Marlins last year, Tanner Scott and Andrew Nardi just being insane and giving them that 1-run luck there. Bednar's got to be that guy down the stretch. It can't just be Holderman and Chapman when he's hot.
One last point. Just moving quickly over to the Phillies side, because I mean, if you're a Phillies fan, like I don't think you really care about the series.
No.
Like you toss it away, you salvaged, at least you didn't get swept. You lost 2 of 3, whatever, you'll move on. Tyler Phillips, 6 innings,
Yeah.
4 hits, no earned, 3 strikeouts, has put together. I think he came up, he only had a 4-inning outing, but looked pretty decent. 6 innings, 4 runs in his next start, and now a 6-inning shutout. Just a guy who can fill innings for them right now. Just wanted to shout him out. I thought he looked good against the Pirates.
Absolutely. And that was that was one where I clicked. I was like, wait, who is that again? And
Yeah.
giving them quality starts, quality innings.
Quality innings for the Phils. All right, let's move to Reds versus Nationals. Nationals sweep game 1. Nationals win 8-5 behind Patrick Corbin. 6 innings, 1 earned run. Now Ruiz and Juan Yepes both went deep for their respective teams. But this game, there were so many steals. Lane Thomas, Jacob Young, Jesse Winker, Stuart Fairchild, Jonathan India, Ellie De La Cruz, all of them stole bases. The reason I brought that up is I don't remember watching a game where I saw 6 different players steal a base. But whatever. Nationals win game 1. Game 2, Nationals win again, 5-4. Neither Lodolo or Gore was very good for their respective teams. Mackenzie Gore only went 2 innings for the Washington Nationals. Tyler Stevenson hit a bomb for the Reds. Harold Ramirez hit a home run for the Nats. But the comeback in the 7th by the Nationals. Lane Thomas RBI double late to tie it up. Then a Jacob Young RBI single to take the lead. Nationals win game 2. Game 3, Nationals win again, 5-2. Andrew Abbott was great. Not his fault. 6 2/3, 6 hits, no earned for the Reds. But Jake Irvin was just slightly better, I guess. I mean, his team won 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts. Noelvi Marte, Stuart Fairchild homers were the only 2 runs for the Reds. But James Wood, 3-run opposite field home run in the 8th was the big difference. Nationals move to 47-53. Reds fall to 47-53.
That was exactly where I wanted to start. These teams have the same record. We were talking about the Nationals as a clear seller, and the Reds is a team that, can they get back into it? I've been trying to campaign and say I think they can make the playoffs. A month ago, doesn't look like it's happening, but now, like after a series like that, unless they rattle off 7, 8 straight wins, like, do you feel like they're pretty much trending towards seller now? Like that was a worst case scenario. I feel like to get swept there.
Trending towards seller. I think, it's so funny. Of course, yes. Like my immediate reaction is yes. But it does feel that if they win their next series, right? Let's say they sweep their next series. Now what are we talking about? I just feel like we can't say anything definitively because the next, I would say week and a half, I think are going to be so telling. But to say no to them being sellers, they got to go on a crazy run. They got to win like 7 of their next 8 games or something like that, because that sweep did feel like not a dagger to the heart, but a dagger to the side. It's making you limp a little bit, but it's not quite killing you.
It hurts because there's some games that you just have to win. Maybe you drop 2 out of 3. The rubber match was close and you lose. Something about getting swept in a series where it's also you got to deal with Pat Corbin. Pat Corbin improved to 2-9. Like Mackenzie Gore only went 2 innings, as you mentioned, and you still lose that game. And now they go on the road to the Braves and to the Rays. So it's not going to get much easier. I know the Braves are banged up, but it might be slipping away from the Reds as well too, which is tough. We might be getting a little bit more clarity here in the NL Central by the end of next week, I think. And by the time we're done with our NL Central tour, I think there might be some more clarity there for sure.
So can you quickly double check for me? I think it's Hunter Green versus Reynaldo Lopez on Monday. That's going to be a great game, right? We usually preview games of the weekend, but just game of the week, that Monday game, Hunter Green versus Reynaldo Lopez is going to bang.
Yep, that's what I got here as the probables. That will be a lot of fun.
That
Lopez is a 188, man.
unbelievable. So speaking of the NL Central Tour, and we're talking a lot about the NL Central right now, I want to give another reminder to everybody out there. From July 29th to August 2nd, the Just Baseball crew is teaming up with Snapback Sports to travel around the National League Central stadiums. We're going to go to Busch. We're going to go to Great American. We're going to go to American Family Field. We're going to go to PNC, and we're going to go to Wrigley. Not exactly in that order, but if you click the link below, not only if you use code JustBaseball, you'll get $5 off your tickets, but you can come with us. Come with us to a game. We're all going to be getting together, all the fans of the Just Baseball show. NL Central folks, stand up. We're going to be road tripping. We're going to do a lot of driving. And when we get to each stadium, the best part about the trip will be seeing everybody's faces. Please, 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 we don't ask for much. But if you're in the area, come out, enjoy a game with us. It's going to be an absolute blast. And like I said, the link below in the episode description, $5 off tickets. Come to a game, have some fun with us, and we'll continue to update you. And you can see the schedule on our Instagram, or when you click the link, the schedule will be right there.
And you can see the giveaways at each spot. We have some cool things with sponsors. So you'll be getting some bundles of stuff and potentially be able to be entered into some awesome giveaways at each stop as well. So there'll be some added value on top of those discounted tickets too.
Absolutely. We move on to my least favorite series of the weekend. The Rays win 2-1 over my New York Yankees. Game one, Yankees did win 6-1. Brandon Lau's home run was the only Rays run because Juan Soto was doing Juan Soto shit. 4 for 4 with 2 doubles. But Garrett Cole, so good to see him carve like that. 6 innings, 1 earned, 8 Ks. Yankees win. Game two, Rays win 9-1. Taj Bradley was unbelievable. And he's been unbelievable. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 5 strikeouts. Randy Rosarina rose to the occasion, 4 hits, 2 of them were home runs. And Alex Jackson homered. That's where the Yankees are at right now. Isaac Paredes also homered, and Nestor, not very good. 6 earned in 4 innings. Game 3, Rays win 6-4. Rays scored 5 unanswered to start. Richie Palacios, Randy Rosarina, and Jose Siri all homer. Judge hit a 3-run home run in the 7th. Jose Caballero hit the home run in the 9th for the exclamation point. Before I throw it over to you for your takeaway, did you know that the Yankees are 8-20 since June 15th, and only the White Sox can say they are worse? Yankees fall to 59-42. Rays move to 50-49, same record as the Pirates.
It's insane that they were so good out of the gate that with it being a total disaster right now, they're still 59-42. Like they give so much time to work that all out. I think it's interesting that they've been better on the road too, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's been really wild to see how the Yankees have hit this wall, and I think it was a really important series. We'll see how the final game goes on Monday, but it was an important series will be if they can take 3 out of 4 here for the Rays, because you want to keep that pressure on the Yankees. Obviously, they're probably not going to catch them, but just trying to close the gap and in general and just try to get back into the race and maybe just make the Yankees look behind them a little bit more. I mean, you can't be upset with what you did so far if you're the Rays. And I'm glad you mentioned Taj Bradley because he's pitching like it's a top 20 arm in baseball. And over his last 8 starts, he's been arguably one of the best arms in baseball, period. 49 innings, 58 Ks, 17 walks, a 0.92 ERA. His fastball is ridiculous, but now the secondaries have really come along. And then Cole, that's got to be one of the best silver linings, right? As you mentioned, seeing him shove. That's back-to-back starts now where he shoved 12 innings, 15 strikeouts. I think only 2 earned runs in those 2 outings. So that is the silver lining, but I mean, it doesn't look great right now for the Yankees overall. It's been pretty wild to watch. But I mean, I'm still not too worried about them yet. And you know that they're going to go make some moves or whatever. It's just, I feel like we still keep rehashing the same conversations though, which is like, at what point do you start to make a change potentially from Gleyber Torres, Alex Verdugo, Trent Grisham? Like those guys are coming up empty way too often. With it feels like just Soto and Judge being the whole show most of the time.
Yeah, my one hope with the Yankees is that eventually they're going to get hot, because I don't think there's any way that Verdugo and Glaber and DJ LeMahieu and a bunch of these guys at the bottom of the lineup are going to continue to hit like they are blindfolded. There's no way. And when the Yankees were winning, all they need is a few contributions. A few, right? When Oswaldo Cabrera was going crazy, it was like Cabrera, Volpe, Judge, and Soto, and this team was winning every day. But they can't win when it's just Judge and Soto. And if those two guys aren't going nuclear, you're just not going to win these days, which is really, really tough. But again, Yankees are 59-42. The sky's not falling, even though in the last 28 games, they have been as bad as any team in Major League Baseball. You know, when I said, Phillies fans, like, you don't got to worry about it, right? Lost 2 of 3, whatever. Imagine Phillies fans step inside the mind of a Yankee fan for a second. Imagine me saying that for like 9 straight series. That's the way they've been playing.
That is crazy. And again, the fact that they're still 59-42 and 3.5 games up in the wild card is insane. Like it shows you how good they were out of the gate, and hopefully they can turn it around for your sake. I was gonna say hopefully. I don't really care though, but for your sake, hopefully.
Thank you for my mental health. We'll talk about another American League East team that continues to lose. The Toronto Blue Jays lost a series of the Detroit Tigers, and in game 1, Tigers win 5-4. Jack Flaherty was dicing. Perfect game through 4 innings, but he finished with 5 2/3, 8 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. Quick side note, I had Jack Flaherty under 17.5 pitching outs on BetMGM. Luckiest bet of my entire life. I mean, luckiest bet of my entire life.
Hey,
it was
had
all
to
thanks
swing
to
back.
Vladdy. What'd you say?
I said I had to swing back in your favor a little bit.
At some point it has to, right? But shout out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy. I owe you an apology. And I love you. And I hope that we could be friends again. But that's all I'm giving you right now, because you did cost me way more than winning that one bet. But regardless, Tigers grabbed the lead, and they never let up. Home run by Mark Canha and Wenzel Perez. And again, Vladdy and Springer hit homers, but it just wasn't enough. Game 2, Tigers win 7-3. Kikuchi was cruising. Yusei Kikuchi for the Blue Jays before a 6-run 6th inning from the Tigers, highlighted by a Jake Rogers grand slam. Now, Reese Olson, a little bit concerning here, left the game after just 2 innings with shoulder soreness. We don't have a ton of updates. Maybe you do, but I haven't seen much. But it's something to keep an eye on. Vladdy homered again, but just wasn't enough. Game 3, Blue Jays finally get the win, 5-4. George Springer, 2 home runs in his first 2 ABs, gets Blue Jays to a 3-0 lead. But Justin Henry Malloy said, hold on, I'm going to hit a grand slam to take the lead. But the Blue Jays fought back with RBI singles from Spencer Horwitz and Ernie Clement to win the game. The Tigers moved to 49-51. Blue Jays fall to 45-54.
Spencer Horwitz has been amazing. And it's crazy that they still continue to struggle despite Springer starting to swing it better, Horwitz being, a masher for them out of the gate, and Vladdy swinging it the way that he's been swinging it. The last 100 at-bats for Vladdy, he's slashing 337, 350, 705. The 705 slug is the huge part, right? 9 home runs in 23 games. We've been waiting for the slug to come along. It just felt like he was just lacing 110-mile-an-hour singles, but it's like, okay, but you're not going to have a high WRC plus or OPS from that. And it was kind of the frustration there, but now he's really starting to slug. So the hit and the power are coming together, and we're seeing the Vladdy that we've known in the past so far over these last 20 something games. And really over, I'd say the last couple months, you've seen him start to really kick it in gear. So we'll see if he can keep riding it out. It's crazy that he's still just 25 years old, by the way, and he doesn't turn 26 until spring training of next year. Like, talk about a guy that feels, it's like the NBA effect with Vladdy because he's been around so long. He feels way older than he is.
100%. And you know how you were talking about, Springer and Horowitz and Vladdy really swinging the bat, and how are the Blue Jays not, winning these games if the top 3 in their lineup are crushing the ball? Well, the bottom 6 aren't doing anything. And the bullpen is just an absolute disaster. That's been the problem with the Blue Jays. Those 3 are doing fine. They're generating the runs. But it just hasn't been enough, because then the bullpen, even if it's close, are blowing leads. And those 3 guys can't do enough. But I agree with you. Spencer Horwitz, I'm glad you brought it up. Gritty ABs. I love to bring some of these guys up occasionally. Gritty ABs. He's a really fun bat to watch. And even Ernie Clement has been a fun spark plug for the Blue Jays. But I think the definition of the Blue Jays season is they put Kevin Kiermaier on waivers, wasn't claimed, and then they kept playing him. Like he's continuing to play even though they put him on waivers. That's
Yeah,
the Blue
that
Jays
that is
season in a
crazy.
nutshell.
That is Angels-esque in a way. One other note on the Tigers is they're going to get a nice little return for Jack Flaherty. And I mean, this guy continues to show up. We talked about it, but uh, they're going to get another nice piece back. So it works out the way that they were able to cash in on Lorenzen. I think it's going to be probably double that in the value that they're going to get at least. So it's going to be fun to see how Scott Harris maneuvers the deadline and cashes in on what was, I think, one of the best free agent signings we've seen in a little bit.
Yeah, the Tigers are definitely going to get, maybe a few prospects or at least a very good prospect at the top of the package. And any contender that gets Jack Flaherty, get excited. This guy has been carving all season long for the Tigers. And it's not one of those things where, in a big ballpark like Comerica, occasionally a guy can have some massive home road splits. So he just dominates in a huge park and then goes on the road and gets destroyed. No. Jack Flaherty is one of the leaders in strikeout minus walk ratio. Underlying metrics look fantastic. And when you watch him, he looks fantastic. So I'm not
Yep.
surprised any of the numbers back him up. All right, let's move to Padres versus Guardians. Good series. Padres win 2-1. Guardians won 7-0 in the first game, though, on the backs of Tanner Bybee. 5 2/3, 2 hits, no runs for the friend of the Just Baseball show. And Matt Waldron, pretty damn good again. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. Now, everyone for the Guardians did their part. It's the classic Guardians offense big day. But David Fry, I wanted to highlight him because he went 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a walk coming off an all-star appearance. What a sentence. Game 2, Padres win 7-0. Flip the script. Dylan Cease. Holy shit. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 10 Ks. He has been on an insane heater, and he's routinely touching 100 miles an hour now. Now, David Peralta and Jake Cronenworth went deep to lead the offense, and Gavin Williams for the Guardians didn't really have it. 3 2/3, 3 earned runs. Now, in game 3, Padres won in a really close one, and it was all because of Michael King. 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts, and Angel Martinez, single in the 7th, ruined the no-hitter, but he was fantastic. And a Kyle Higashioka 2-run double was the difference in this game. Padres moved to 52-50. Guardians fall to 59-39.
I don't have a ton from like a stat perspective on this series, but I do feel a little bit concerned about what we're seeing from Gavin Williams, a guy that, before the injury and we saw him in stretches last year, looked really good. Was a little bit banged up this year. And since he's come back, just hasn't really looked like Gavin Williams. And again, didn't really look like the guy that we've seen in the past. So hopefully it's just still shaking off the cobwebs and he can, build back from that. But the Guardians need him to throw. I mean, this is a rotation that, Bybee, like you said, has really been carrying. And I do feel like they just find ways to put it, like piece it together. But I think they're going to need a little bit more out of Gavin Williams if they want to kind of keep this pace and continue being one of the best teams in baseball record wise, because they've been managing and maneuvering with the pitching situation, pretty well. But I don't know if you can do that over 162.
Just to flip it over to the Padres side, I'm thinking their fully healthy rotation is as good as anybody in Major League Baseball. Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove eventually will be back and pitching to their abilities. Cease, King, Waldron. These guys went into Progressive Field against a very good offense and shut the door. 6 innings, 1 run from Waldron. 7 innings, no runs from Cease. 7 innings, 1 run from King. That was a statement from the Padres rotation.
I agree. And that's the fun part is when it's clicking, like you can see the vision with this team. And that's without Tatis on the offensive side. And Arias not swinging it too great. And Profar looks like he's just never going to slow down. So like, I think you can see the offense holding up its end of the bargain, when things are clicking. But when this rotation is healthy, like this can be a pitching centric team that can match up really well in the playoffs and do some impressive things. And I thought this series was a great example of that.
100%. Let's move to Mets versus Marlins. Hey, your Marlins won a series. Well, not quite yet. They have game 4 on Monday, but they are ahead 2-1. And they won game 1 6-4. Both Cabrera and Sean Manaea didn't go more than 5 innings. Both of them had little rougher outings. But Jeff McNeil heating up a little bit, Mets fans. 3 hits, hit a home run. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, though. Jake Berger had a home run, had 2 hits, had 2 RBIs, and Tanner Scott closed it out with a 4-out save. The reason I wanted to bring him up for a save is the guy is absolutely disgusting. We were talking about him in the car, and I'm sure we'll talk about him when we, you know, round up this series. Game 2, Mets win 1-0. Luis Severino was dominant for the New York Mets. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and Roddery Munoz, 5 innings, 1 hit. This is from Jolly Olive, who's a big Mets fan. I'm sure you all know him on Twitter. Versus the Mets, Roddery Munoz, 11 innings, a 0.81 ERA. Versus everyone else, 45 innings, a 6.20 ERA. Now, in this game, a Francisco Alvarez RBI groundout was the only run. Game 3, Marlins win 4-2. Jazz Chisholm 3-run bomb to take the lead, and Jake Berger hit a home run just for insurance. Neither Christian Scott nor Trevor Rogers threw at least 5 innings, but Scott allowed 3 runs while Rogers only allowed 1. Not great pitching performances in this series outside of really Luis Severino. Not a ton of takeaways for me from the series. How'd you read into it?
Rodri Munoz is funny. That stat's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like not as bad as some of the other arms that they've been like funneling in and out of there. Like I do think he's a guy that can survive, and he's been looking pretty decent. But no, the big thing for me was just first of all, the Marlins screwed Trevor Rogers so hard in this last game. I watched a little bit of it today on Sunday, like booting the ball left and right. I think Nick Fortes made 2 errors. They made a throwing error on a double play that would have got him out of the 5th. Like it was a nightmare defensive situation there. And they recently just like flip-flopped their middle infielders. Said, okay, Xavier Edwards, you should just play second. Otto Lopez will try you at short now. Like they're just flying by the seat of their pants. But Jazz Chisholm starting to really like heat up here ahead of the deadline. And I think this will probably be one of his last home runs as a Marlin here. So it'll be interesting to see. But I don't have a ton other than the fact that Tanner Scott is the best reliever in baseball right now, I think. And maybe there's some niche guy that's been on a more ridiculous stretch, but opponents are hitting 0.92 against Tanner Scott's fastball this year. The characteristics are almost outlier-esque, where it's 5.2 foot release height. MLB average is like 5.9. And just physically speaking, it's harder to induce vertical break from the lower release that you have. Average induced vertical break from an average release height of like 5'9" is about 16 inches. He gets 17.5 to 18 inches from a 5'2" release height. So just totally way off from anything hitters are used to seeing. And he's now just sitting 98, 99 with it, overpowering guys. Like Tanner Scott, whoever gets him, if he can keep this up and keeps looking like the guy he's looked like all year, and going back to last year, like that's a guy that can just carry you in big spots in the postseason. Like I could see him closing out games for the Yankees, the Dodgers, whoever it may be. Even teams that already have good bullpens, you add this guy to the fold with the way things are clicking for him now. I feel like he's a guy that can really push a team across the finish line in the playoffs.
I'm so glad. I really wanted to talk about Tanner Scott because when I watch him, you know who he reminds me of? Josh Hader. When Josh Hader is working with the fastball at the top of the zone, he's got a pretty low release height too, and it just zips in on you. You're talking about sitting 98, 99. I'm watching him routinely touch triple digits. Like that's 100-mile-an-hour of fuel coming from the left side with just an absolute banger of a slider. And when you watch Tanner Scott as well, he also has to deal with the defense behind him that does him absolutely no favors. So I think what he's decided is, all right, I'm going to get the easiest ground balls off the bat, or I'm just going to strike you out, because that is how good he has been. I don't want anybody, when they see a fan of a contender, when they see it come across MLB Network saying, we traded for Tanner Scott. Oh, we traded for a Marlins reliever and we gave up that much for him? You damn right you did, because he's freaking awesome and he's definitely going to help a contender. He might get back a bigger package than Jazz. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I know. Even a rental Tanner Scott, like I think people might be surprised at how big the return could be there, and maybe how sneaky light the return may be for Jazz. It'll be okay, but I don't think it's going to be what people were maybe expecting. One other note, like Edward Cabrera might just need to move to the bullpen. I've never seen a guy maneuver the 5-6 walks outings like he does, but between the arm issues and the command issues, like I think they should just move this guy to the bullpen and try to make him like a lights out reliever. On the Mets side, though,
you could do that.
You got to have this one, man. Like, so we'll see if they can grab it and split it on Monday. It is on the road, but they got to have this one if they want to keep Uncle Steve in the hunt and wanting to add to this ball club, because we talked about their situation. It's unique. I don't think they're going to sell by any means, but can they inspire the front office and ownership to add to this team? I think you gotta at least split with the Marlins here and finish strong over the next week.
I think as a podcast, we got to do something. Mets Marlins on Monday. Stamp it. Must win. Hashtag a must win game for the Mets.
It's a must win.
The first must win for the Mets this year. Is it a must win? Just let it be a must win.
I'm down to call it a must win because it's David Peterson against Yanni Chirinos. And Yanni Chirinos is 0-1 with a 5.7. And David Peterson's a left-handed pitcher. I think the Marlins are like 5-27 against left-handed pitching. Yeah, we can stamp that one a must win for the Mets.
Must win for morale, just general morale. You can't lose the series 3-1 against the Miami Marlins. I know it's on the road, but you just can't do it. And it's also a must win because you have to keep winning games if you want to buy at this deadline. Let's move to Orioles Rangers, a great series where the Orioles won 2-1. And then the Orioles beat the piss out of the Rangers in game one, 9-1. The Bats, they just crushed Eovaldi for 6 earned runs. Very uncharacteristic of a guy that solid at home. They hit 4 homers in this game. Adley, Colton Cowser, Anthony Santander had 2 of them. And Corbin Burns just doing Corbin Burns shit. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. We move to game 2. Orioles win 8-4. Grayson Rodriguez doing Grayson Rodriguez shit. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 8 Ks. Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn, Jordan Westberg, all homered, and Westberg even had 3 hits. Scherzer, not great. 2 innings, 4 earned runs. But in game 3, the Rangers needed a win, and they got it on the backs of Andrew Heaney. 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 4 Ks, and Jonah Heim's 3-run home run was enough. But I just wanted to mention Anthony Santander because he hit another home run, his 18th in his last 43 games. He's up to 27 home runs now, just 1 behind Gunnar Henderson. Orioles move to 60-39. Rangers fall to 47-52. I feel like the Rangers really needed this one, and they couldn't get the series win.
Badly needed it. Just another one that like it's slipping away, and it's a tough matchup, but you got to try to get these here. And the Orioles, though, what really stands out to me is you talk about how they produced the first game, right? It's Santander and Gunnar combining for 7 hits and 2 homers, 2 of those being Santander, but the 7 hits, Gunnar contributed 4 of those. Second game, they combined, Santander and Henderson combined to go 1 for 9. But then Westberg, Mullins, Arias, they combined for 8 hits. So it just feels like everyone holds up their end of the bargain. They pick each other up, and it's a lineup that I know there's some of those guys have not been performing to the best of their abilities in the back end, but they're capable. And we've seen guys like Mullins have really good full seasons. Arias has had really good stretches. Like it's a lineup that can beat you, I think, in any facet, right? Like when the top guys aren't hitting, sometimes the guys in the back end pick it up, and that really stands out to me. And then Santander, you mentioned it, like having 27 homers now. Like this guy was a Rule 5 draft pick. Like don't forget that. He's going to be a free agent. He's about to get himself paid in this contract year, and he deserves it.
Absolutely, he deserves it. The guy hits a home run, it feels like every single day. 18 home runs in his last 43 games. Insane. The Rangers, though, like if we're talking about the Reds, like the Rangers didn't get swept, but damn. I mean, you only have a few games left before management has to make a decision here. And coming out of the break at home, Chris Young and company want to see how you compete against the best teams. And you barely won the last game 3-2. Not a great start.
No, and I mean they didn't even have a chance in game 1 or 2. 9-1, 8-4, like you said. Like they sneak out that game 3 that was great to salvage, but the first 2 games were just totally lopsided.
Before we keep moving on to the rest of the series, let's take a quick break. All right, let's move into everybody's favorite series of the weekend. The White Sox played. And the Royals played a lot better. That's why they swept them. Game 1, Royals win 7-1. Michael Wacha, dominant. 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 7 strikeouts. Bobby Witt Jr. went deep and had 3 hits. Corey Lee, though, hit a home run. That was the White Sox only run. Game 2, Royals win 6-1. Brady Singer, dominant. 7 innings, 5 hits, no earned, 7 strikeouts. Bobby Witt Jr. had a 3-hit game. Royals scored 2 runs in the 8th on bases loaded walks. Just kind of wanted to throw that in there. Thought it was kind of funny. Game 3, Royals win 4-1. Now the White Sox, they actually had a lead at one point. Tommy Pham had an RBI. Then the Royals scored 4 runs from the 7th to the 8th inning. This was Seth Lugo, chef's kiss. 9 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, a complete game, 6 strikeout performances. ERA is down to 2.38. How is he not the Cy Young frontrunner at this point? And shout out Drew Thorpe.
Mm-hmm.
6 innings, 3 hits, no earned, 5 punch outs. That's the arm that White Sox fans want to see moving forward. But damn, the Royals needed to keep winning here. The Twins are getting some momentum. The Guardians are obviously in first place. People on podcasts, idiots like us, doubt them for a little bit. I know it's only the White Sox, but you can only play who's in front of you. And they spanked him in all 3 games. And the pitching looked great. That's all you can do. You can only play who's in front of you. All your stars play great. Your pitchers look great. You did exactly what you needed to do against the White Sox. Blew them out all 3 games. Build some momentum after this break.
Did you say what the White Sox record is now?
The White Sox are 27-74. That is insane to just say. 27-74.
Like, that is crazy. I was just looking at that and it looks like it's like wrong.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just like, it can't be that. When I'm looking at those numbers, I can't think of the last time I've seen a record that bad in Major League Baseball at this point. They're bordering on unwatchable, but I do like watching Drew Thorpe throw, like you mentioned, and that's one of the best changeups. We talked about it. That was an 80 grade changeup, the only one for us on the top 100 list. And so far in the big leagues for him, he's throwing that changeup more than he throws his fastball.
He should.
And opponents are hitting $156 against it with a 20% swinging strike rate and just brutal contact rates. I think that the 50th percentile exit velocity off of his changeup, which again he's throwing 1% more than his fastball, is 77 miles per hour.
Wow.
Like, that's insane. Just for comparison, fastball, it's about 96 miles per hour on the EV side of things. So, I mean, even when guys are getting to this changeup, it's barely coming off the bat with any type of velocity at all. And then one other just fun note, Brooks Baldwin made his MLB debut really quick for the White Sox, really quick climb to the big leagues for a 12th round pick in 2022 out of UNT Wilmington. Wow. He gets to the big leagues in about 200 minor league games. Usually guys that are 12th round picks, like, it's a slower burn because you got to prove that you can climb each level. They're not going to be as quick to promote you. Like, Brooks Baldwin just made it clear that he's way more polished than I think a lot of people that are usually drafted in his range, and flew through the minor leagues pretty quickly. I don't think it was just because of the fact that the White Sox stink. Like, he did earn his way up to the big league, so that was cool. And then Seth Lugo, dude, he leads the league in innings pitched at this point. Like, the converted reliever is on pace for 200 innings roughly. Like, that's crazy as well.
Good for the Royals. Seeing Singer dominate again, Lugo, Waka, and obviously you have Reagans. We just didn't see him get to throw against the White Sox. He probably would have thrown a no-hitter or something like that.
Yeah.
But damn, Royals fans, you might have already turned our podcast off because of some of the words that we have said about your team, how we're not huge believers. And I'm not saying, oh, now I'm a believer after you sweep the White Sox. But damn, you guys looked good. Shout out the Royals.
Bobby Witt, by the way, hitting 337.
Yeah. He's just a generational player. He's just so unbelievably good.
I never thought that he'd be hitting for average like that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's just so good. He's so fucking good. Post All-Star break, I don't know if he doesn't get out. I know it's only 3 games, but damn it, doesn't get out.
Going even back to his last, I'm going to cherry pick here, last 43 games, he's slashing 370, 403, 607 with a 15.6% strikeout rate. 8 homers, 3 triples, 11 doubles. It's insane. Like, this guy is locked in on another level. And by the way, just turned 24. So, I mean, this is face of baseball type of talent here that we're seeing, and it's really starting to come together for him.
Move to Giants versus Rockies. The Rockies win 2-1. Shout out Rocktober. A series win, and damn it, Giants, come on. Game 1. Rockies win 7-3. Well, why'd they win, Peter? Oh, I don't know. Cal Quantrill pitched. That's why. 6 innings, 3 earned, 5 Ks. You can say whatever you want. You can't say that Cal Quantrill isn't the man at Coors Field. Now, Kyle Harrison, he was great. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Did have 4 walks, but he struck out 6. But the Rockies just crushed this Giants bullpen. It wasn't the filler guys. This was Rodriguez. This was Ryan Walker. This was Rogers. Like, these are their guys, and the Rockies crushed them with home runs from Brenton Doyle, Jake Cave, and Ezekiel Tovar. Game 2, Rockies win again, 4-3. Kyle Freeland, 6 innings, 2 runs. Logan Webb, not great, 6 innings, 4 runs. And Ezekiel Tovar, again, home run in the 5th, gave the Rockies the lead, and that was about it. Game 3, Giants win 3-2. Hayden Birdsong,
Huh.
6 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 12 strikeouts, the most by a Giants player ever at Coors Field. Excuse me, I might have misquoted myself. It's either the most for a Giants rookie or a Giants. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure.
Regardless, it was a ridiculous outing from him for a rookie. I mean, to get those swings and misses the way he has, he's a guy that's really generated a lot of buzz this year, and a lot of people have been really excited about what he was doing in the minor leagues. And I mean, coming up huge for the Giants there.
I don't know why I corrected myself. I said it perfectly the first time. It was the most strikeouts by a Giant at Coors Field ever, and he also had 27 swings and misses. Holy shit. Jorge Soler, Tyler Fitzgerald, home runs for the Giants. Brendan Rodgers, 2-run home run, but it wasn't enough. Giants win 3-2, but the Giants did fall to 48-52. Rockies moved to 36-64.
Tovar, 3 straight games with a homer going into the middle of that series, and over his last 10 games, an 11-16 OPS that was entering Sunday. He's been red hot. He's been locked in.
People need to stop DMing me and tagging me in things that if Ezekiel Tovar would be a Yankee, he'd already be in Monument Park. And if Volpe was a Colorado Rocky, that nobody would have heard from him. Just because you're right doesn't mean you have to yell at me. It's being very mean, and I don't like it, Arm. I don't like it. Yeah, I get
That's
it.
funny. I didn't
Cards
know
are
people were
freaking
doing that. That's
It's really
funny.
annoying. It's really annoying, and I don't like it. It is kind of funny, but I don't like it, and I would like it to stop. Okay, is that fair? Is that fair? Everybody listening, I get it, and it's funny. It's coming from like different people who don't know each other. Like it's coming from one Twitter account that whatever. All right,
They're all in on it. Everyone's just trying to remind you that the guy that you were very excited about to take over shortstop for you is the same as basically somebody that gets overlooked in Colorado.
Worse than that. Like not the same. Worse. All right. Before we move on to the remaining series, Aram, you got a word from our friends at eBay, don't you?
Yeah, I got a big week ahead. I'm going to the National, and obviously eBay is going to be there, and eBay Live is going to be at the National in a big way. They'll be doing some major giveaways all weekend long at their booth, and in the evening they have trade nights. So we're really excited to drop by that at their booth because that's where I get to see some really cool cards. Sometimes I'll end up buying some things or just seeing what people have and watching them transact because there's always some crazy stuff there. They have a ton of amazing live auctions with athletes, including Roger Clemens, Reggie Jackson, and Floyd Mayweather. If you're there in Cleveland, go check them out live at the National, but you can tune in and bid on all of the exciting cards and memorabilia on eBay Live. They'll be auctioning to literally the way we did it too was so much fun. By the way, when we were doing the live auction from the card shop, it'll be very similar to that. All you have to do is visit eBay Live and click into the National channel to see everything live at the National that is being auctioned off. And again, they're going to have Roger Clemens, Reggie Jackson, Floyd Mayweather, and others. I mean, the live auctions are really fun, and there's some crazy cool items there. So if you're there in person in Cleveland for the National, look out for me. I'll be there. Go to the eBay booth. I'll probably be around there a lot of the time as well. But if you're not able to make it, you can go on eBay Live and click on the National live streams and see some really cool stuff there as well.
A lot of traveling for us in the next few days. You're going to be at the
Yeah.
National coming up soon. I'm going to be at Fenway for Yankees Red Sox on July 26th. Then all of us hit the road July 29th to August 2nd. Again, that National League Central tour. Make sure to get your tickets in the episode description. Next series, Angels versus A's. How about the A's? They won a series 2-1, and it started in game 1 with a shellacking, 13-3. Schumann had 3 hits, 4 RBIs, 6th home run of the year. JJ Bleday, Shea Langeliers also hit home runs, and it was all off Griffin Canning. 3 innings, 6 earned, not great. Neto and Shanwell both homered, but it just wasn't enough. Game 2, another shellacking. A's win 8-2. Miguel Andujar, Lawrence Butler had 3 hits each. Brent Rooker had 2 hits, one of them being a home run. And Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker drove in 6 of the 8 runs. It was just all A's offense in game 2. And in game 3, Angels win 8-5. Now, the A's had a lead, 2-1 after the 4th. And Moniak and Duhar trade home runs for their respective teams in the 5th. A's take a 5-2 lead, but the Angels put up a 5 spot in the 8th, capped off with another run in the 9th to win it. A's move to 39-62. Angels fall to 42-57. my takeaway for this game or this series is simple. The A's, while they don't have as good of a record as the Angels, I think they're better.
Oh
I do.
yeah.
I think the A's are better.
I mean, just look at the lineups. I think Oakland's lineup has more intrigue with youth and upside, but also just I think better players. That the Angels are collecting failed prospects and like hyped up prospects from 8 years ago, like Infinity Stones. It's almost like as if Perry Manassian has an edition of Baseball America's like handbook from 2014, and no one has told him that it's 2014, not 2024 on the cover. And he's just like, all right, let's roll with Keston Hiura. We'll roll with Joe Adele. We'll roll with Carson Fulmer, Hans Kraus. He sounds great. Willie Calhoun, like it is Mickey Moniak. Like this is crazy what they've put together here, and it's pretty depressing to watch. But the A's, I think you can see some of these young players like Lawrence Butler heating up the way that he has. Also, Miguel Andujar has been raking, which is crazy. He's hitting over 300.
Some teams
So
going to
that's
want to trade for him. That's another nice trade piece, right? I don't think they're going to get a ton for him, but the fact that you're getting something for Miguel Andujar speaks to the A's front office for just plucking him up. And not to mention Brent Rooker is going to get them a serious package.
oh my gosh, Rooker has been on another planet.
He's on my
His last
fantasy
30
team.
games,
He's the best.
343, 408, 667. It's 1,075 OPS, striking out 28% of the time. That's more than fine. 10% walk rate. We kept waiting the last year and a half to like, okay, Rooker's clearly found a way to be a successful major league hitter and he's a solid power bat, but no way he keeps this up, right? And he keeps getting better. Like he keeps getting better and better and better. I think things have really clicked for him and he's a dude. So I don't know. I mean, it probably makes sense for them to trade him because he's going to be 30 at the end of the season and comes with years of control. But I think you're 100% right. He might be the most underrated and it's not going to be underrated anymore, but I think people are really sleeping on the return that the A's may be able to get with the control that Rooker has and with the numbers that he has now put up for a consistent amount of time now for multiple years, and the fact that he's playing as well as he ever has. That's going to be, I think, one of the sneakier returns in a market that is so thin bats wise. I think a lot of teams are going to want a Brent Rooker.
OPS over 900. I mean, you put that in any lineup, he's automatically your best hitter, or at least one of them on most contenders right now.
Yeah. Yep. And then one other thing, Jacob Wilson makes his debut, which was so exciting. Picks up a hit, of course, in his first AB, and then pulls a hamstring. Is that what it was? It was a hammy?
Hammy, yeah. He was grabbing
which stinks. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. That guy flew through the minor leagues. And I know people are like, oh, it's kind of like the Angels thing. No, it's not. He's different. He was hitting 440 basically through all the minor leagues this year. And like, there wasn't really much else to prove in the PCL where he was clearly just too good for the competition. Big leagues are the test for him. I'm excited to see that. Hopefully he can come back again sooner rather than later. But this is a guy that's put up the best contact rates in the minor leagues this year. In zone contact rate of 96%. I mean, that's off the charts good. And that's why he is legitimately struck out as little as anybody in professional baseball. 6.5% strikeout rate in 201 plate appearances. That's just 13 Ks. That is something you don't see very much anymore in this game. And the guy can just hit.
And when he was drafted 6th overall last year, I think when the A's made the pick, nobody was saying, wow, the A's got a steal. Like everybody saw the hit tool. But was this guy going to make any real impact? Was he going to be a Nick Madrigal type? Where, yeah, he's going to make a lot of contact, but a lot of it is just a ground ball to second base or ground ball to shortstop or third or whatever. No, this guy was slugging near 700 in the minor leagues. I think that's why the A's thought, all right, well, we already knew about the hit tool, but the fact that you're hitting for power and you don't swing and miss ever across any level and you're hitting for power, let's bring you up and see what you can do. Immediately gets a hit and then just unfortunately goes down with a hammy.
Twice as many doubles as strikeouts this year.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Let's move on to the battle of first place in the American League West. And the Astros won the series 2-1. Game 1, Astros win 3-0. Hunter Brown, 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts. Astros scored all 3 runs in the third inning, capped off by a Yainer Diaz 2-run single. Now, Luis Castillo was great. 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, or 6 Ks, excuse me. That's what you want from a guy at the top of the rotation. But unfortunately, the Mariners did Mariners things and didn't score. Now, the Astros won 4-2 in game 2, and it was a very similar story. George Kirby was awesome. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. And he pitched better than Framber Valdez, who allowed 2 earned in 5 2/3. And Julio even hit a home run in this game, a 2-1 lead, to give them a 2-1 lead. But Jake Myers immediately got it back with a 2-run home run, and Yanner Diaz hit a home run in the 8th for more insurance. Game 3, Mariners win 6-4. Brian Wu, solid, 2 earned, 5 2/3. But this was, even though the Mariners won, this was kind of more of the Yordan game. He hit for the damn cycle.
Yeah.
Second cycle of the year so far, 10th cycle in franchise history for a team that's been around for 63 years. So they get about 1 cycle every 6.3 years. And I know Yordan's an amazing hitter, but he's not the first name I think of when I think of players that can hit for the cycle on the Houston Astros. But let's get back to the game where the Mariners grabbed an early lead and Polanco home run gave them some wiggle room, and the Astros pulled within 1, but a Luke Raley 3-run home run was the dagger. Mariners fall to 53-48. Astros move to 52-47. Thank the good Lord I never pressed the damn panic button on the Astros. I mean, it's the Astros. What are we talking about here? 10 games out, not so long ago, and now they sit atop the American League West, and I'll be surprised if they give it up for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, I don't mean to bring this in when I'm talking about congratulating the Astros on taking the lead, but Julio Rodriguez on a Yordan Alvarez, which then gave him a triple. Julio almost made an amazing play, leaping at the wall to grab that ball, but unfortunately came down. I think it was his ankle.
Yeah.
Had to limp off the field. Did not look good. Hopefully he's okay. Haven't seen much information post-game. Guess we'll just have to see what happens.
Absolutely sucks because he was starting to heat up a little bit. You mentioned the home run and had been picking it up going into the break. So it felt like, okay, he's starting to break out of it. This could be huge for the Mariners. And then he goes down. It just really hurt. And it was, like you said, almost an incredible play going all out into the wall. And it looked like that ankle just kind of got jammed up into the wall. Just a little bit funny. Hopefully it's just a minor sprain and he can be back because, I mean, 1, they need him on the field. And then 2, they need him to perform well for them to really be able to fend off the Astros here. But this is going to be a fun showdown. I think this might be one of the more fun races to watch down the stretch here and through the rest of the season between these two teams, kind of two teams that do things differently, but I think can get hot in different ways. And I mean, the Mariners can just churn out quality start after quality start after quality start. And the Astros can, I think, win ball games in a lot of different ways. But I love that you mentioned the way that they've been performing and the way that they've been hitting and really just starting to take this potential lead here in the division. And they're doing it without Kyle Tucker. And Kyle Tucker should be back sooner rather than later as well. I think already had a rehab assignment or at least was already or like scheduled or was, I saw something along the lines of either he was out in the field running and shagging, whatever it was a positive update there. So he's trending in the right direction to be back. I mean, adding him to this lineup, he's playing unreal all year. That's going to be another nice little boost for them as well.
I really want to see how the Mariners respond after this one, because this is a type of series. You lose 2-1, you lose first place to a division rival, and your best player goes down with an injury. Do you just lay down, season over? Or do you come out and kick some ass in the next few weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Get the fans hyped up again. Julio comes back. You added some additions at the lineup, and here we go. Here comes a crazy division race. Maybe you win it, right? All you got to do is hit, right?
Yeah,
you just hit a little bit. You score 6 runs in game 3 and you win. Wow, what a shocker, right? The Mariners aren't teams that give up 6, 7 runs. That's not what they do. They beat you down with pitching, and as long as you can hit, that Luke Raley home run was awesome. Like, if they can all come together in Julio's absence, just have a little magical run on offense, it's going to be a great division race. Do not lay down, Mariners. It ain't over yet. Move on to our next series. Oh, yeah,
sorry, to your point real quick. Yeah. The first 2 games, they're outscored 7-2. Yeah. It's not like they like you said, it's not like they're giving up 20 runs.
No.
They just only scored 2 runs in 2 games. You're not going to win that way, but they pitched fine in those ball games. I mean, 3.5 runs a game is fine.
Yeah, they got 13 innings, 3 or 4 earned runs from their 2 starters. And the bullpen's didn't give up anything. Well, Mariners bullpen did give up a little bit, but the Astros only scored 4 runs in game 2. The team can't score 4 runs and then that's it, because you cannot score 5. Just cannot be that way. All right, let's move on to Cardinals versus Braves. And unfortunately, I looped these two series in together because we have more injuries for the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk about that in a minute. Game one of the doubleheader, Braves win 3-2 in 10 innings. Charlie Morton was great, 6 innings, 1 earned. But Kyle Gibson was just a little bit better. 6 2/3, 1 earned run. Eddie Rosario and Nolan Arenado both hit home runs for their respective teams. And Ozzie Albies sac fly won it in the 10th. We'll talk about him in a minute. Game two of the doubleheader. Cardinals win this one 9-5. Both starters, Sonny Gray and Bryce Elder, allowed 5+ runs with 9+ strikeouts. Both weird starts. I mean, Gray went 7 innings, and he had 10 strikeouts, but weird starts. There were so many home runs and strikeouts in this game.
Yeah.
Ozuna had 2 bombs, Austin Riley, Eddie Rosario, Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan. And while the Braves homered, the Cardinals just hit, with Burleson and Contreras having 3 hits each. Cardinals win 9-5. Game 3, Cardinals win the rubber match, winning 6-2. Paul Goldschmidt, Alec Burleson, Lars Nootbaar, Wilson Contreras all went yard. Jared Kelenic hit a home run for the Braves, but it wasn't enough as Miles Michaelis shut the door. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Cardinals move to 52-47. Braves fall to 54-44. And tough news, Ozzie Albies is going to miss 8 weeks.
Oh,
And Max Fried was also put on the IL. 2 key cogs to this Braves team, both going to be missing time.
yeah, really rough. Albies, of course, like just the injury bug seems to catch him here and there, and just a fluky thing going to try to catch the ball, jams in with the runner and just totally jacks his hand and wrist up. I mean, just super unfortunate for a team. Yeah, when you lose Fried as well, we already know that they've lost Acuna. We're just talking about like how do you get this team to be a little bit more competitive relative to what we're used to, like to potentially be able to keep up with the Phillies. And now, I don't think there's anything that can really be done at the deadline that is going to get them back into it, other than the fact that there are guys that need to be hitting, end up swinging it the way that they need to swing it. I mean, Olson's been really tough to watch of late, and I think that's going to be the big part of it. You're not going to be able to go get a bat that's going to totally move the needle. Though, if they could put together a package, that them and the A's love to trade. A Brent Rooker situation could be somebody that does move the needle for them, but I don't know. They'd have to really piece together pieces in the farm system to make it happen. That said, the A's seem to love Braves prospects more than other people, because even at the time of some of the other trades in the past, we're like, whoa, that's it. I don't like those guys that much, and they make it happen. So we'll see how they go about it. But the Cardinals are starting to play some good ball, and I think it's really encouraging. Seeing Goldschmidt go yard is always nice, but it just seems like he's kind of feast or famine at this point. But Alec Burleson's arrived. I think it's really starting to click. He's always been a guy that's been outperforming or underperforming his expected numbers and things like that. And it seems like now it's really starting to all come together for him. He's been awesome. After the last game, up to a 130 WRC plus, 6 hits in the series. He's been easily their best hitter, for the last couple months.
Cardinals fan DM'd me Alec Burleson MVP, and I thought to myself, oh, that's kind of funny. And then I looked at the numbers, and I'm like, obviously not MVP, but damn it, the man has been fantastic. One last thing before we move on to the next series. You mentioned the A's potentially lining up for like a Brent Rooker type deal. I mean, where the hell would they even put him? I mean, Marcell Ozuna's just taking up the DH role. Like, he putting Brent Rooker maybe in a corner outfield spot. I guess he could play there for a little bit. It's just the defense, but they just get that bat in the lineup. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I would just throw him in a corner and just say, hit. That's all I care about.
That's all I care about. Let's move on to Brewers versus Twins. This was a 2-game series where the Brewers swept it. Really good series. Game 1, Brewers win 8-4. Pablo Lopez and Freddie Peralta were both dynamite. 7 innings, 1 run from Lopez. 6 innings, no runs from Freddie Peralta. And Freddie Peralta needed a dominant start like that against a good offense. Jackson Chourio, he's starting to really come into his own here. 3 hits and 2 stolen bases. But the Brewers scoring 5 runs in the 12th inning was the difference. Game 2, Brewers win 8-7. This is a back and forth game. Both teams just hitting bombs left and right for the Brewers. Eric Haas had 2. Jackson Chourio had 1, and he also had a double. Rhys Hoskins' 2-run shot gave them the lead. Byron Buxton hit 2 home runs for the Twins. Trevor Larnach also added a homer of his own. Now, the Twins almost got back into it in the 9th, scoring 2 runs when they were down 8-5, but it just wasn't enough. Brewers move to 57-42. Twins fall to 54-44. I wish Jack was on for this episode. Brewers Nation, I'm standing behind you. And we know that Aaron Savali did not look good. Who cares? He still won. That's the point. Like, that's what the Brewers do. It's just, yeah, I mean, Savali, sometimes he'll throw 7 shutty like he did in his last game. Sometimes he'll give up 5. Brewers won both, though. I mean, that's just
Both.
what they do. They are just such a good all-around team that they can have problems in the rotation during the regular season, but come playoff time, that's going to bite you in the ass. But hey, in the regular season, shit works. Shout out the Brew Crew. I love the Brewers.
Without Devin. And when you have Jackson Chorio, who's been amazing over the last 6 weeks or so, just finally settling in. I mean, that's your 8 or 9 hitter. And now he's hitting for power. He's giving you 5 hits in 2 games. I mean, that really stretches out this lineup because you know what the top of the lineup can do. And the way that they grind out at bats and set the table. You have a guy like Jackson Chorio performing the way he has and knowing what he's capable of and the back part of that lineup. I mean, it is 1 through 9. It can be a really tough lineup to navigate through, even though it's not littered with superstars. You're not really going to find an easy out in there either.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to the last series on the slate. Red Sox versus Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers went 4-1 in game 1. Nick Pivetta, though, was so good. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts, and Gavin Stone was also great. 5 innings, 1 run. Now, the Red Sox, they grabbed a 1-0 lead in the 6th off of Jarren Duran home run, who has just been so good this series, coming off an All-Star Game MVP, one of the most underrated players in the entire sport, a straight-up star right now, playing like a superstar. But Freddie Freeman is a superstar. Grand slam in the 8th inning was the difference. Game 2, Dodgers win 7-6 in 11 innings. Awesome game. Robleski, 4 1/3, no runs, 5 Ks, did his job. And Brian Bayo did his job. 6 innings, 3 earned, 7 strikeouts. Tyler O'Neill had 2 jacks. Gavin Lux also homered. But Kike Hernandez ties it in the 9th with a homer. Tied it again in the 10th with an RBI single. And Will Smith walked it off with an RBI single. And as we're speaking, because we are always recording during Sunday Night Baseball, it is 6-3 Dodgers. We got a Freddie Freeman home run, Teoscar Hernandez homered, Gavin Lux homered, Austin Barnes homered, Ohtani homered, and Jared Durant homered.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit, Dodgers.
Ohtani hit it 473.
Holy shit.
Hey, I got to go back and watch that one. Yeah, the Red Sox are playing good ball, of course, and that's, I mean, it's been crazy to see the way that they've been trending, but of course you run into the Dodgers in LA, and
Dodgers needed
all of a sudden you get smacked around a little bit, even when the Dodgers don't look like they're at full strength right now. I mean, they're the Dodgers, and I think this is a perfect example of like when a couple of the other guys step up, then you know that you're going to get finished off by a Freddie Freeman or a Shohei Ohtani, who are just going to pick up the big hit or the big home run and really just put you to bed there. So it's crazy how this Dodgers team has, an IL roster that's out of this world, and they're still able to do what they're doing. But I do want to talk about Jarren Duran. That's a guy that I'm going to do a swing breakdown on because from May 15th, that was the last day he had like a toe tap for timing. From May 15th onward, he started using this leg kick, and since then has been an absolute monster. 10 home runs since then. He had, I think, none or one in the 43 games prior to that. So I'm going to break that all down. That's going to be the next like swing breakdown I do, because to your point, he's playing like one of the best players on the planet right now. And it's been since he made that tangible adjustment in the box. So there's reason to believe that, this can keep going. I mean, maybe not at this exact clip, but there's a tangible adjustment, and the results are pretty hard to deny.
So hard to deny. And then you see him do it. The All-Star game.
Yep.
From the bright lights, winning All-Star MVP. So that'll do it here for the Just Baseball show. That was the weekend roundup brought to you by BetMGM. Remember, folks, we got a lot of things going on this week. It's a big week and a half, all the way up to the deadline. First of all, here on the Just Baseball show, we're going to be giving you guys so much trade deadline coverage that you're almost going to be sick of it. You're going to be like, stop, too many rumors, too many mock trades, people. So make sure to stay tuned for the rest of these episodes for the rest of the week. They're going to be absolute bangers. And if you are enjoying, please rate and review 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to support this show without spending a dime. Or if you're watching on YouTube, hit that big red subscribe button. Got a lot of things on tap. NL Central Stadium Tour, July 29th to August 2nd. We're going to be touring the National League Central stadiums. We truly, truly hope that you guys can be there. Also, eBay Live, the National Card Convention in Cleveland. Remind me of the day, Arm.
Well, it starts on the 23rd and goes all the way through the 27th or 28th, I believe.
So Tuesday to about one of those days
Yeah.
later in the week. Enjoy the card convention in Cleveland if you're there. If not, make sure to tune in to eBay Live. Game time. I feel like you kind of want to use our code to get $20 off your first purchase. Code Just Baseball and Game Time. BetMGM, trying to gamble? All right. Code Just Baseball. First bet offer up to $1,500. That was the weekend roundup for Arm Layden. I am Peter Apple. Of course, we'll see you tomorrow. And with that, thank you, everybody.